Hello everybody, welcome to Monday Morning Must Knows. My name is Merlin Rothfeld. Now last week we talked about earnings season kickoff, all the excitement around earnings season and major financial firms reporting earnings, and a lot of them kicked booty. It was a very nice positive week for almost all the banks that reported last week. Now the question is, will that continue for this week? So let's start to look at the earnings calendar for the upcoming trading week. Now we went from like 59 last week to 299 companies reporting earnings this week. We start things off on Monday with Steel Dynamics and State Street. Nothing too major there. Tuesday brings us to the big daddy in the fangs, Netflix, Johnson & Johnson, Procter & Gamble, Intuitive Surgical, Philip Morris, United Airlines, and Halliburton. Wednesday, also another major name in Tesla, Verizon, IBM, Lam Research, Kinder Morgan, Abbott Labs, and Biogen. Thursday brings you AT&T, Intel, Snapchat, Valero, American Airlines, Southwest Airlines, and Freeport-McMoRan. And Friday, rounding these out, Schlumberger, American Express, Honeywell, and Barclays Bank reporting. These are some major earnings announcements covering just about every sector of the market. So be very careful if you hold any of these in your portfolio. Now we move on to some of the macroeconomic data. One of the things we've been focusing on this program in particular over the past few months has been housing numbers. We've seen the year-over-year growth in earning or value of homes really spiking to unprecedented levels. How sustainable is that? And what might be the clue that that is starting to turn to the south side? Well, we'll take a look at housing data. Now this week we have 4 announcements with regards to housing. We start things off with the NAHB Housing Market Index. That's going to be Monday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Then building permits and housing starts Tuesday at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then finally we have existing home sales on Thursday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, making a plethora of housing announcements. Now, we don't know which way is this going to go, but we do know there's a lot of attention focused on the price appreciation of houses, plus the rising 10-year Treasury note, which has an impact on 30-year fixed mortgages. So there is some pressure on houses right now, and we'll see if that's reflected with the housing data this week. And last, but definitely not least, we're talking about oil, black gold, Texas tea is the topic du jour. Why? Because the chart of oil looks amazing right now, and we've passed some very critical milestones. If we take a look at the chart here provided by Click, you can see it's on a beautiful uptrend since it went to negative $40 per barrel. It's hard to go lower than that, but we've seen a great uptrend that is now officially breaking through some short-term supply levels. Right around that $77 mark, you can see we've broken. Now the question is, where are we going to go? You'll notice if you look off to the left-hand side, there's not a lot of great supply zones ahead. There's one up around $93. Well, if we're currently trading at roughly $82, going to 93 means another $10 move to the upside. That means that there is the potential for some tremendous moves up in crude oil. However, wait, don't rush out there and start buying crude oil because you think this chart looks great. Remember, there's a couple of other pieces. We have OPEC, and right now oil prices are surging, right? It's to the tune of about $82 per barrel right now. The higher that those oil prices go, the more U.S. production will start to increase because there's great profit margins for frackers and refineries here in the United States. So OPEC will look at this and go, we need to slow down that U.S. production. How do they do that? They raise supply, and what does supply output do? That will, in theory, drop prices. So be careful here if you are looking at this beautiful trend of crude oil. The higher that prices go, the more likely OPEC will step in, raise production output levels from OPEC countries, and that in turn will drop oil prices, all in an attempt to squash or keep American production low. So these are 2 factors to think about with regards to the oil chart. And of course, we have 4 pieces of housing data and a ton of earnings on this week's upcoming Monday Morning Must Knows. We'll see you next week.